Trippie Redd is one of the biggest names to emerge from the SoundCloud rap era of the 2010s. But despite his emotional rapping style and unique fashion sense, Trippie Redd is really about that life. Recently, the rapper had his tour bus shot up after leaving a show in Baltimore. Here's a closer look at what happened. On September 6, Trippie Redd performed at the MECU Pavilion in Baltimore, Maryland in support of his new album, Trip at Night. After the show, 10 members of the concert crew boarded the bus and started driving toward the airport. Just before 3 a.m. Tuesday morning, someone in another vehicle pulled up alongside the bus and started letting off shots. The driver ended up getting hit, but managed to pull over into the departure lanes of BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport and call for help.
A brazen early morning shooting sends bullets flying through the side of this tour bus, hitting the driver as they travel down 295 South.
No one else was injured. The vehicle was a passenger bus for the crew, and it's not clear whether Trippie was actually on board. Police have yet to discover a motive and determine whether it was a targeted shooting or an incident of road rage. Trippie Redd is not the first artist to get his tour bus shot up. Lil Wayne had his bus sprayed with bullets after a show in Atlanta back in 2015. Not long before that, the Migos had their bus hit up while driving down the highway in Miami. It's an easy way to get a rapper while they're vulnerable and not expecting an attack. Although these shootings rarely seem to hit the intended target. In this case, an innocent bus driver got hit and could have easily crashed the bus and put more lives in danger. Luckily, no one was killed, but it could have been much worse. It's still not clear at this time whether the shots were meant for Trippie or if the shooter had other intentions. Even though Trippie doesn't seem like an artist to get involved in serious street beef, he does have a criminal past that could explain the shooting. Trippie Redd grew up in Canton, Ohio. His father was in prison at the time of his birth, leaving his mother to raise him all alone. He is of Irish and African American descent and grew up on 14th Street, where he created a gang with his close homies called 1400. The rapper has a 14 tattooed on his head, which is a reference to his block and his gang. Trippie also has ties to the Bloods and was allegedly part of the 5'9" Brims. He started making music with his brothers when they were kids. His older brother raps under the name Dirty Red, and his younger brother went by the name Hippie Red. Trippie was always into music and was influenced by groups and artists like Nirvana, Kiss, Green Day, T-Pain, Marilyn Manson, Gucci Mane, and Lil Wayne. In 2014, Trippie's older brother Dirty Red died in a car accident, which is what made him decide to start taking his music more seriously. He said in interviews that his brother's death put him in a really dark place and music helped him pull through. He started recording songs in high school and dropped the tracks Sub-Zero and New Ferrari in 2014, but later deleted them. He started taking trips to Columbus to record music, where he would begin to develop his sound, which was a mix of emo rock and hip hop. After graduating high school, he moved to Atlanta, where he started hanging out with rapper Lil Wop. During that time, he recorded a lot of music and released 3 full mixtapes in 2016, Awakening My Inner Beast, Beast Mode, and Rock the World Trippie. This earned him some attention from record labels, and he would eventually leave Atlanta and move to LA, where he was signed to the record label Strange Entertainment. Not long after that, he dropped an EP called White Room Project, which featured one of his early hits, Love Scars. He followed up with his debut album, A Love Letter to You, which peaked at number 64 on the Billboard 200. But as he was blowing up, Trippie would also start getting into trouble with the law. In 2018, Trippie and Lil Wop went to the home for a rapper named FTM Grady to hang out. While they were there, Trippie was allegedly being disrespectful to Grady's girlfriend, which prompted the rapper to pull out a gun on him. Grady calmed down a bit after that and decided to challenge Trippie to a fist fight instead. But before the fight started, Lil Wop, Trippie, and 2 other dudes they were with jumped Grady. The cops ended up getting called, and both Trippie and Lil Wop were arrested for 2 misdemeanors, fighting and criminal trespass. Trippie was also charged with battery. Trippie later pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct, which came with a sentence of 6 months of probation and a $2,425 fine, which he had to pay to FTM Grady. But the trouble didn't stop there. Only a month later, Trippie was arrested again, this time for pistol whipping a female. The victim claims that she went to the place where Trippie and his ex-girlfriend Alex were staying in Atlanta around midnight on June 12, 2018. The woman previously had some sort of altercation with Trippie and Alex and went to confront them about it. She and Alex got into a heated argument and were about to get into a physical fight when Trippie broke them up and ended up pistol whipping the woman in the head. Police were called and Trippie was immediately charged with aggravated assault and battery causing physical harm. Because he was already fighting an open case after the incident at FTM Grady's house, the judge did not grant Trippie a bond right away and he had to sit in jail for about 6 days. But even though he had to sweat it out in Fulton County Jail for a few days, the case never went anywhere. The DA's office declined to prosecute him, even though they claimed that police had probable cause to make an arrest. The woman did admit to police that she had gone to his house that night intending to start a fight, so the prosecutors probably thought the case would be a waste of time.
So we all went to the house together. Right when I walk in the house, DJ come and is like, man, get this out immediately, because we already had beef because I wouldn't with him. So then Trippie runs down the stairs with his right on his side like a little lost ass dog, gonna come, what the going on, knowing I beat the out of her, and I'm yelling at her, put my fingers in her face. So Trippie come and gonna f***ing pistol whip me in the back of my head and I fall on the f***ing front of the f***ing door.
But while he was fighting these criminal charges, he would also be beefing with other rappers in the industry. Trippie was one of the first notable rappers to collaborate with the now famous snitch, Tekashi 6ix9ine. The two collaborated on the track Pol's 1469 in July 2017, as well as the track Owie. Originally, they were cool with each other, and Trippie claimed that he liked 6ix9ine's wild style. But their relationship would go south after news broke that Tekashi had pled guilty to child sex charges. The case in question took place in 2015, where 6ix9ine was partying with a girl that was only 13 years old. They were not the only ones at the party, but photos were later posted to the internet of 6ix9ine shirtless while the girl is on top of him in just a bra. 6ix9ine later claimed he had no idea that the girl was under 18. But that wasn't a valid excuse, and the rapper was later forced to plead guilty to 1 felony count of the use of a child in a sexual performance. In August 2017, 6ix9ine was beefing with another early collaborator, Zilla Kami from the group City Morgue. Zilla leaked the information about Tekashi's child sex case to the internet, which is one of the first times that the rapper was almost cancelled. Trippie Red ended up seeing a post on Twitter accusing 6ix9ine of being a pedophile, and he responded with the video saying, "I'm sorry, brose, 1400 don't promote pedophiles."
I'm sorry, brose, 1400 don't promote pedophiles. We don't f with weird n. This is on some whole different shit now. I'm a timeless artist. I can't surround myself with goofies. But if we give clout, you feel me? We give clout. It was an accident.
While on a trip to New York a few months later, Trippie was a victim of an ambush at the hotel he was staying at, which he blamed on 6ix9ine.
Some 9 tray. As soon as I walk in the building, hit right in my mouth. Got hit in my mouth. Then my beat his asses and then they ran.
6ix9ine basically confirmed his allegation by posting a video where he said,
"Yo, I don't know what's going on, but I feel really bad about it. Your chin is bruised up. You just can't be out here calling people gay, bro. Can't be supporting false accusations. You can't be ranting on live, talking about, I'm good in New York. F*** is talking about."
So at this point, it wasn't just internet beef, they were really going at each other's necks. They would continue to take shots at each other on social media any chance they could get. The beef reached a boiling point when 6ix9ine posted a video of himself laying in bed with Alex, Trippie's ex-girlfriend, who he allegedly pistol whipped a woman in Atlanta over. The two had already broken up, but it showed how low 6ix9ine was willing to stoop to get at his enemy. Trippie didn't appreciate the disrespect and ended up pulling up to 6ix9ine's mom's crib, making all kinds of wild threats toward his mother and daughter.
We put up to his mama house and was bumping gummo. She was looking out the window.
You at my mommy's house?
He called like, "You at my mama's house?
You in front of my mommy's house?"
I'm gonna have everybody come right now." Then he called with a bunch of niggas he don't even know.
And nobody came.
Nobody came. Nobody came.
6ix9ine also accused Trippie of having sexual relations with rapper Bad Baby, aka the Cash Me Outside girl from the viral Dr. Phil clip, who was a minor at the time. Both Trippie and Bad Baby later denied this rumor, but admitted they had kissed once before, but it was before Trippie had even turned 18. The beef between Trippie and 6ix9ine never officially ended, but 6ix9ine would end up getting caught up in the RICO indictment of the 9 Trey Bloods, which would put an end to his trolling for a while. But during the court case, 6ix9ine would testify that Trippie was a member of the 5'9" Brims gang. Around the same time Trippie started beefing with 6ix9ine, he would also get into it with the late rapper XXXTentacion. In 2017, Trippie was supposed to feature on the Drake song God's Plan, but didn't send his verse in time for the release. X had beef with Drake after he allegedly stole X's flow on a song while he was locked up. Trippie and X were cool early on, so X felt disrespected that Trippie would collaborate with his enemy. X also started associating with 6ix9ine at the time, which Trippie obviously didn't like. X would eventually ban Trippie from the state of Florida in 2018, promising to assault him if he even tried to come to the state. But the two eventually squashed the beef, with X apologizing to Trippie on stage later that month. So Trippie has had a pretty wild career up to this point, but none of his past activities explain who may have shot up his tour bus. Maybe it was old beef related to his membership of the Bloods, or maybe it was FZM Grady, who felt like he never fully got revenge for Trippie disrespecting his girl and getting jumped. Or maybe it was somehow related to the girl he pistol whipped, or even his beef with 6ix9ine. All of these theories seem pretty far-fetched, and the most likely answer is that it had nothing to do with the rapper at all, and was either an incident of road rage or just a crazy fan. Whatever happened, the rapper may want to consider beefing up his security at the next show, to be sure that whoever did it doesn't try again.